I've been looking forward to this one, right? I don't know what it is, but there's something about a Jane Austen tale, right? I don't know. Something about the goofiness of it all. And goofiness, I feel, because, you know what I mean? Motherfuckers fainting all over the place and all of that. And you're looking at it like, yo, people just don't do that shit. That ain't a thing. What the fuck? What are these people doing? Like in Persuasion, um, someone concusses themselves, but it's like, I think they'll live. You know what I mean? And you just like, I think it's these, you look at these situations and it's just like, yo, how crazy was that? Nowadays, you bang your head. It's just like, yeah, all right, don't try it. Don't fall asleep for a few hours. You're golden, essentially. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's situations which will kill you for sure, but in the broad sense of the things, right? So, yeah, there's so many different adaptations. It's always interesting to see what someone's going to bring to the table. You feel me? So this new version is directed by Carrie Cracknell, and it is adapted by Ronald Bass and Alice Victoria Winslow. It is produced by Andrew Lazar and Christina Wes-Lurie. Executive produced by David Fliegel, Michael S. Constable, and Elizabeth Cantillon. The music is from Stuart Earl. Cinematography is Joe Anderson. It's edited by Penny Scott. Dixie Chazet handles the casting. Production design is John Paul Kelly. Art direction is Keith Sloot. Set decoration is Faye Brothers. Costume design is Marianne Ag- Agatooft. The makeup and hair is Lindsay Bowen, Jean Carlos de Blas, Karen Hartley, Ezeta Herzik, Natalia Linartek, Emma Romans, Erin Stufer, and Savannah Sullivan. Our cast. Wow, people. We have Dakota Johnson as Anne Elliot. Richard E. Grant plays her dad, Sir Walter Elliot. We have got Yolanda Kettle as her sister Elizabeth. Um, Mia McKenna-Bruce is her other sister Mary, but Mary's now a Musgrove, right? Because she married um, Charles Musgrove, who is played by Ben Bailey Smith, right? Different role for old Doc Brown. They've got a few children. There's Louisa, played by Nia Tower. Uh, Henrietta, played by Izuka Hoyle. Uh, Charles, who's played by Hardy Yusuf. And James, who is played by Jake Simi. Um, Now, Charles's parents, Mrs. Musgrove and Mr. Musgrove, are played by Eve Matheson and Gary Beadle. Who else do we have? Well, there is the Crofts, who Anne very much respects. Now, Mrs. Croft is played by Agnes Scott, and her husband, Admiral Croft, is played by Stuart Scudamore. We got Penelope Clay, played by Lydia Rose Bewley, who is I mean, we see her courting Sir Walter. Um, we have got Captain Wentworth, played by Cosmo Jarvis. Uh, then there's a Lady Russell, played by Nikki Amuka-Bird, right? She is, yeah, very much respected by Anne. Um, who else? Who else? Who else? Captain Harville, played by Edward Blumel. Captain Burnwick, played by Aful Afulob Afula Afolabi Ali. Um, there's Mrs. Harville, played by Jenny Ransfield. Mr. Elliot, of course, played by Henry Golding, who is a cousin of the other Elliots, which makes it all very weird, right? It's all very weird. There's Viscountess Lady Dalrymple, who is played by Janet Henfrey, and Mrs. Carrettet, played by Sophie Brooke. And the gist of the story, if you do not know, living with her snobby family on the brink of bankruptcy, Anne Elliot is an unconforming woman with modern sensibilities. When Fredrick Wentworth, the dashing one she once sent away, crashes back into her life, Anne must choose between putting the past behind her or listening to her heart when it comes to second chances. So, yes, there we are with the story. It would seem a lot of people are a bit irritated with this. I don't know why, right? I look, we have had numerous adaptations of this story. You know, there's definitely been a few um, TV adaptations to go dating back to the 60s, 70s. I think the ones I remember are 95 version with Amanda Root and Syrian Hines. And then there was the 2007, right? Sally Hawkins and Rupert Penny Jones, uh, you know, which I did very much enjoy, right? Persuasion was the last book from Jane Austen, you know. Yeah, I very much I like the story. The Austen stuff is very good, right? I like the story, but yeah, all these different adaptations bring something new to the table. Now, I do find something that we get a lot in um an Austen tale is the looks, right? The lingering looks. The camera captures them to help, you know, show the unrequited love and the different emotions and all of this. Now, I will say, in this version, we do not get as many lingering looks. It's not playing for that. But I think, in what we do get, we're still getting the story. We're still getting an enjoyable take, right? It does feel slightly modern, even though it is set in the actual period. They're not trying to bring it forward. It plays, I believe it was, I want to say Sense and Sensibility, or it may have been Emma, right? Where we get, the main character talking to the audience a lot, right? And Anne breaks the fourth wall. I believe it's the fourth. Yeah, I don't think it's the third. Uh, Actually, I don't even know why do we say the fourth wall, right? Because essentially, let's just say a building has four walls. For the most part, right? Most buildings, unless it's a triangle or a hexagon or something like that, it's got four walls. So wouldn't it be the fifth wall, right? Because if four walls are the most common, so if we're saying we're going beyond that, wouldn't that be the fifth wall? You know what I mean? I feel that makes more sense, right? I feel it does. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know. Don't know why I thought of it, but there you go. Anyway, yes, we get Anne breaking the wall talking to us, right? Um, it's been a long time since I've read the book, so I forget if that's a big part of it. Um, but that is utilized, and I think it plays well. I enjoyed the watch. I will say now it's not shiny. Um, it is does feel a bit more vibrant than other versions, which kind of used a more autumnal, like sedate feel, you know. So it kind of really does feel older. So I think with the more vibrant colors, it makes it feel a bit more modern. Um, and we don't like it. Probably doesn't really give us a lot of depth in these characters. It is a lot of base level. I don't think it greatly harms the film itself, because you know what these characters are about, right? I mean, it's clear within the writing if you haven't even read the book, but you understand straight out the gate who these people are, what their intentions, what they're trying to do. So that's all good. That's all gravy. You do look at it and you do kind of be like, Wentworth's stubble never changes. You know how difficult it is to trim up a motherfucking beard? It's not the easiest thing, right? And keeping stubble at a certain length, it's not an easy thing. Especially, they ain't got no brawn, no Gillette, right? No razor club. No, they're using a straight up motherfucking switchblade, right? And it's the razors. Like, that's some difficult shit. So it is a bit like, ain't this stuff gonna change, right? It's the Musgrove, the little boys, right? Charlie and uh, who the other little motherfucker? James. Yeah, I was gonna say James, but I doubted myself. I should never doubt myself. But yeah, Charlie and James. Now they're little kids, right? Little kids. But one thing we do know, little kids, they grow like motherfuckers at a certain age. They never change. I mean, even though we're going over the course of, it's not in the confines of, just a few weeks, right? It's months at least. If not, I'm saying maybe a year or so, right? Those little kids never change. Yeah, so I think sometimes the little things like that are very noticeable. Uh, Listen, right? I'm all about opening things up, right? You know what I mean? So, yeah, we get a more diverse cast than we normally would, or we have in the past in a period piece, which is fine, right? It's fine. Um, it is a little bit weird though when you then give those larger shots, right? Because it's just like, okay, you're trying to mix it, you're making it diverse gravy. Even though, you know what I mean? Like, motherfuckers ain't gonna be getting those titles, right? Because we know what happened in those times, right? We know what it was. But so you've added diversity to our main cast, but then when you see like street shots and things like, there's not really the diversity there. So it does make it seem a little weird. You know what I mean? It is just like, okay, so if you're saying only these people, only diversity here, then all man's on the streets, they're gonna be staring. There's gonna be those little glancing looks, right? So it's just like, what are you doing? What are you gonna do? You've gotta throw it everywhere. You gotta throw it everywhere, right? Otherwise, it comes off a little bit weird. But there you go. Right, the music. I did like the music. The music is nice, and it isn't necessarily there to give you the emotion of the scene. I did think at times maybe pare it down a little bit, right? Maybe pare it down a bit, but it was very enjoyable in its construction. Um, yeah, listen, we are rocking this motherfucking film. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. I would say an hour and 40 minutes, I think. Um, so yeah, not too long, right? It's okay. It's all right. It's all good. I liked it. I did it like you do, even though, right, they've made these changes and all of that. The emotion of the scene is evident, right? It is evident. So it is, and they put together a nice little thing. So I wouldn't, just read some of these reviews and be like, ugh, it must be terrible. It's not terrible. It's different, you know what I mean? It's definitely got a different feel to some of those other adaptations. Doesn't mean it's bad, right? So I'd say keep an open mind. Um, yeah, if you enjoy a modern twist in a period set piece, Persuasion could very well be for you. Could very well be for you. I will say, right, one thing that I do find interesting about the whole thing, though, right, is like in the synopsis, where it's like, and living with her snobby family, and you kind of feel, right, I mean, yeah, she ain't really no better, right? Because if she weren't up on that shit, she would have married old Fredrick at the beginning. But she was talked out of the wedding because he wasn't rich. Now he showed her his ambition, but that wasn't enough. Right? So you can't really say you're better than others if you aren't doing a thing because of, you know, class and wealth, right? I do find that the interesting part of the story because it's just like, all these other people around me are kind of cray, but I'm not like that. I'm like, you kind of are. You know what I mean? You kind of are, right? And when someone's like, oh, that's my cousin, everyone's just like, ooh, I want a little cousin, right? It's just like that's a category on Pornhub, kids. What the fuck are we doing? Like it should be like, yeah, that's a relative. We don't do that shit. But yeah, they're all on it. It's kind of crazy, right? Kind of crazy. But hey, those kids back in the day were a little They were interesting. But yeah, people, Persuasion is on Netflix right now. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Right? As I say, if you like a little modern, then I think it could be for you. You know what I mean?